The 2024 NBA draft was one of the least hyped drafts I have seen in my 15 plus years watching the NBA. Usually every single year we have at least one prospect who is alleged to be the greatest since LeBron James, or we will have some new unicorn to marvel at. But this year experts and amateurs alike made it painfully clear that if we even see a single All-Star, then this class will be a surprise. We are officially 1 month into the year. Obviously, a lot remains to be seen with regards to what these guys can achieve in the NBA, but at the same time, we now have a good bit of footage to review and reflect upon. Today, I thought it'd be fun to grade every noteworthy pick from the draft, letting you all know what I like and don't like about their games, and where I think they are headed from here. Before we get started though, please do me a big favor and like the video as it helps me out a lot more than I think you guys realize, and also subscribe for more basketball related content. I am trying to hit 20 million subscribers by the end of the hour, so let's make that happen. With the first pick in the 2024 NBA draft, we saw the Atlanta Hawks select Zaccharie Risacher, who is joining a competitive team with already established young wings playing the role he would be destined to fill. As a result of this, despite almost immediately being a part of their starting lineup, his minutes have been on the low side at only 24 a night. But even so, I think he has looked exactly how Atlanta fans hoped he would in the league. He does a little bit of literally everything on both ends of the floor. He doesn't do anything at a noteworthy level, but he manages to be just enough in scoring, rebounding, passing, defense on the floor, and defense above the rim. Since the year 2000, only 18 rookies have finished their first year in the league, averaging at least what Risacher is putting up right now, which is a really good start. Of course, his outside shooting has not been good at all. 27% will not work in the NBA, that is below the Mendoza line. His two-point shooting is a little bit better, relatively, at 52%, but that is also still below league average. Obviously, Risacher pales in comparison to past number 1 overall picks, but this class is a bit unique. And because of that, I'm going to give him the grade of a B. With the second overall pick, the Washington Wizards chose Alex Sarr. Now, if you saw my mock draft video, you will remember that I was a lot more critical of Sarr's outlook in the league than I was Risacher, and unfortunately, the concerns I had have been apparent thus far. Sarr on offense has been terrible. Currently, there are 22 7-footers in the league, averaging at least just 2 shots per game, and Sarr is dead last by a mile amongst them, with an effective field goal rate of 42%, and he is taking 10 tries a night. In fact, this is me jumping in from the future. Sarr is dead last in the entire NBA of anyone of any size in this category. Also, as a lot of scouts anticipated, he really doesn't like attacking the rim on offense. As a result, he is shooting a staggering 4.5 threes per game, and he's only making them at a 24% clip, which is also dead last in the entire NBA. He is number 175 out of 175. And defensively, though his 1.8 blocks per game are a pretty counting stat, he actually ranks in the bottom third of the league in rim defense for big men, as he offers a near zero impact to opposition field goal percentage at the rim. The only good thing you could suggest about what has happened thus far for Sarr is that he is getting court time thanks to Washington being awful. They appear to realize the season is lost and are just going to continue throwing Sarr out to the wolves, but I don't think this is a good thing. I am worried that his poor play in such an undisciplined environment was going to have a very profound negative impact on his career in the long run. Unfortunately, I'm giving Sarr the grade of an F thus far. The third pick was the Houston Rockets selecting Reed Sheppard. In similar fashion to what has gone on in Atlanta, Reed is on a competitive team that is trying to push for a playoff spot. Unlike Risacher though, there are a lot more than just 2 guys in front of Reed in the depth chart. Though not getting completely forgotten on the bench in DNP fashion, Reed is only averaging 11 minutes of action per game, the fewest of anyone in the top 7 of the draft. His production has been okay, but you have to look at his per 100 possession stats to really see what he even does on the floor. His offense is nothing special. He's not shooting the ball very well, although his 3-point shot has been at least okay. But his defense has actually been pretty good. His 107 defensive rating ties him for 12th best in the entire league. Again, low minutes without a doubt heavily skew this, but you can't complain about that end of the floor. On offense though, Reed has not yet found his stride. He needs to figure out how to score the ball inside the arc, and I wish that Houston would try to get him the ball in his hands more so he can actually use some of his playmaking skills that he's actually pretty good at, but they're playing him off ball so much we're not really getting to see it. There is a reason to be optimistic about Reed Sheppard, but up to this point we need to see more. I'm going to give him the grade. I originally had him as a C and I thought about it more and I realized that's just giving him too much credit. He is going to get a D. The 4th overall pick by the San Antonio Spurs was Stephon Castle. The college champion was expected to get a lot of court time in his rookie year, and that is exactly what has happened. He is currently averaging 27 minutes per contest, which is second best in the class. Starting with the good, Castle plays with confidence. He is very strong for a guard, which is very crucial at his size, and he keeps the ball moving, doing his best to play Spurs brand basketball and find the best shot every time down the floor. But the negatives are real. In college, Castle could not shoot the long ball, and that has remained the same in the pros. 28% from deep on 4 tries a night is horrible. It is the 5th worst in all of the NBA. And his inside the arc shooting is not much better. His effective field goal rate of 44% is second to last in the NBA, only beating Sarr. Having a point guard who is willing to create scoring looks for his teammates, including Victor Wembanyama, is what San Antonio needs. But as of now, Castle has not been doing a good job at this because he just doesn't have any gravity on the floor. Defensively, though many scouts expected him to be the better player between he and Reed Sheppard, Castle thus far has been worse. His 116 rating here is in the bottom quarter of the league. I have not been impressed with Castle, and I want to not give him this grade, but I'm trying to be fair. He's a 4th overall pick and he's not playing well. He's going to also be receiving an F. With the 5th overall pick, the Detroit Pistons chose Ron Holland, another wing who showed he could not shoot the long ball coming into the NBA, and thus far in the league, that has been the bane of his existence as he is knocking down only 14% of his threes on 2 tries a night. Dead last in the entire NBA of anyone shooting as many as him. At least, Holland is scoring the ball inside the arc pretty well, for a wing player especially, as he's making 58% of his 2s, which is great, but that sample size is very tiny so far. Still though, his offensive rating of 94 is terrible. That is the 4th worst in the entire NBA. And defensively, though he measures well and he's athletic, he's only shown very brief glimpses of the stuff he can do in the league on that end of the floor. I hate to hand out another failing grade, but Ron gets an F so far. 6th overall, I think the Charlotte Hornets reached when they picked Tidjane Salaun. The French teenager was widely expected to be the rawest prospect in the class, and the Charlotte team entered the year with playoff aspirations, so the pick was an odd one to me and a lot of people. And thus far, Salaun has been awful. Though he is not a black hole, he does not create shots well. He is shooting an awful 29% from deep, which I guess compared to his fellow rookies may be respectable, but don't be fooled, it's not. And inside the arc, he has trouble finishing, resulting in an overall effective field goal rate of 42%, which rivals Alex Sarr. Only staying out of the stellar of the league thanks to him not taking enough shots. Defensively, Salaun also looks taken back by the speed and strength of opposing NBA wings. His defensive rating of 115 is not good. He is young, he has the physical tools, and he seems to understand the game well, so this may just be a blip in a long career. So I'm not going to give up on him or anything, but as of right now, unfortunately, I'm going to give out another F. 7th overall, the Portland Trail Blazers selected Donovan Clingan, and finally, I can end the failing grade streak. Clingan was widely expected to be one of the most NBA-ready rookies in the 2025 class thanks to his age, size, strength, and defensive IQ, and this has all been true. Despite opening up the year off the bench, Clingan has been the best center in Portland. His rebounding and shot blocking are superb. In per 100 possessions, due to his minutes being pretty low at only 17 a game, Clingan ranks 7th in the entire NBA with 19 rebounds, 3rd in offensive rebounds at 9, and 1st in blocked shots at over 5. He is essentially a better version of Walker Kessler right now on that end. Offensively though, Clingan has been less than great. He is exclusively a dunking machine thus far, as 81% of his shots are within 3 feet of the basket, which isn't a bad thing, but he's only making 55% of his 2s, which is on the very low end of guys who play with his same play style. But unlike a lot of guys who are just rim protectors, dunkers, and shot blockers, Clingan has actually shown he can space the floor a little bit. He hasn't shot very many, but 33% from deep is better than most of the guards in his lottery class, which is a crazy stat. I have been a big fan of Clingan all year long, and I hope that he can return from his injury and resume getting his starting caliber minutes. And I want to see him continue to develop and hopefully figure out that offensive game. Even though he is more of a defensive one-hit wonder, I'm going to give Clingan an A so far. With the 8th overall pick, the Minnesota Timberwolves traded into the lottery to select Rob Dillingham. And that's been a weird decision in the moment, and it remains a weird one today. Rob must be a long-term investment for Minnesota because a 20-year-old, generously listed 6'1" point guard has barely played this year, the fewest of anyone not injured in the lottery. He has looked confident while on the floor, which I like, and he has made the shots he has taken early on as he's making 50% of his threes, but we need to see more from him before I even feel comfortable giving him a grade. So for now, Rob will receive no mark from me. With the 9th overall pick, the Memphis Grizzlies shocked all the haters online by selecting the 2-time College Player of the Year Zaccharie, and he has been a joy to watch thus far. Edey is ultra aggressive on both ends. There is no matchup he hesitates against. If he has the ball and there is a chance he can score, he is attacking with a level of aggression not often seen in big men in the league nowadays. In this rookie class, his 11 points per game rank him 6th, his 1 block is 4th, his 6 rebounds rank him 2nd, and his 61% field goal percentage is also 2nd. His 120 offensive rating puts him in the top quarter of the league, and his defensive rating of 106 ties him for the 11th best in the league. Also, he is proving the naysayers wrong by knocking down a staggering 60% of his threes on over 1.5 attempts per game. There is really nothing he has been bad at in the NBA other than being a little foul happy early on, but even that has been corrected. Like Clingan, Edey is also hurt right now, so hopefully he can return from his injury, get right back on track, and I'm really excited to see what he can do throughout the rest of his rookie year. I'm going to give him the grade of an A. With the 10th overall pick, the Utah Jazz selected Cody Williams, and they already seem to be regretting it. There is no aspect of Cody's game that is NBA caliber up to this point, which is something I kind of feared was going to happen, as he was not a big-time producer in his lone year of college ball. But at least there he was effective. In the NBA, he has shot 18% from 3 on over 2 tries a game, and is shooting a terrible 32% overall on effective field goal rate. Thankfully, he does not qualify, but those would both be dead last in the entire NBA by a mile. His 81 offensive and 122 defensive rating are also legendarily bad. What is even more concerning is Utah decided Cody may be better off developing his game in the G League, which I understand, so they sent him there, and he's been just terrible. In 2 G League games, which is only 2, he's shooting an even worse 9% from deep, 1 of 11 overall, and he's boasting ratings of 80 on offense and 126 on defense. He is young, he has decent measurables, and his brother is very good at basketball, so there is still time for him to put it all together. But for now, 1 month in, Cody Williams unquestionably will also receive an F. 11th overall, the Chicago Bulls selected Matas Buzelis. A draft night faller, Buzelis was on everyone's board going top 5, so the fact that Chicago were able to squeak away with him was a surprise. Thus far, Buzelis has had to earn his minutes in the NBA. They have a lot of roster spots being used by players who are there to win games, so they use them, and I applaud this. Because of their competitiveness, Buzelis has had to stay sharp while on the floor to justify getting any minutes. Only playing 11 minutes per game, he has found ways to be useful on both ends and is shooting every shot with an expectation of it going in to contribute towards winning. 5 points per game is nothing special, but he is making 36% of his threes on 2 tries a night, which is the best of anyone shooting as much as him in the lottery. And he is putting the ball in the hoop inside the arc, managing an overall effective field goal rate of 50%, which is respectable. Buzelis moves well, challenges shots at the rim, and understands his role in the team. I have to give him a C for what he has accomplished thus far. I expect his role to continue to grow throughout the year. Skipping the 12 and 13 picks due to injuries, the final pick of the lottery at 14th overall, the Washington Wizards made the correct choice by drafting Bub Carrington. I will admit that I was very wrong about Carrington's outlook in the league. He has not only been ready to play from the moment he set foot on the hardwood, he's been a superb player. He leads all rookies with 28 minutes per game for a reason, and he's averaging 9 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists per contest. And unlike so many of his peers picked before him, he is doing this while shooting a real professional caliber level 35% from deep on over 4 tries a night, which is terrific for a rookie. Defensively, he has a ways to go, but even so, he has been the best lottery pick rookie in Washington, which nobody expected. I'm excited to see what the future holds for him. I'm going to give him the grade of a B. Now that we're outside the lottery, I'm going to start jumping around a bit as there are only really a handful of other selections worth grading. 16th overall, the Philadelphia 76ers chose Jared McCain, who is expected to be a professional caliber shooter from day one, and that is exactly what he has been. Philly has been decimated by injuries and has been losing a lot of games lately. So perhaps his counting stats are all a bit inflated because he's just getting way more looks than he would normally get. But at least through the first month of his career, McCain is scoring 16 a game while shooting 37% from deep on 6 tries a night. I expected him to be ready from day one, but this is beyond what I could have hoped for. McCain will receive an A grade. One pick later, going 17th overall, the LA Lakers selected Dalton Knecht, who has been a blessing to their team. I mean this when I say it, the Lakers really only had about 5 genuine NBA rotation-worthy players on their roster going into the year, so they desperately needed Knecht to hit because without him, they wouldn't have a bench at all. Knecht is a 3-point sharpshooter, connecting on 41% of his long balls on 5 tries a night. He is second in his draft class in long-range shooting, and is top 50 in the league overall. Plus, Knecht has shown a high basketball IQ offensively, is always giving 100% effort, and he plays with a ton of confidence, so it's forced head coach JJ Redick to move him into the starting lineup over former All-Star D'Angelo Russell. Many so-called scouts feared Knecht for the same reason they avoided Edey, and they have once again been proven fools. Knecht gets an A. At 21st overall, the New Orleans Pelicans selected Yves Missi. As I thought, right away Missi was ready to play in the NBA. He is tall, long, bouncy, and loves playing above the rim. From day one, he looked like a prime Clint Capella. The only downside is the fact that New Orleans has been so injury-ridden all year long, so his stats might be a little inflated and we don't know what he looks like when New Orleans is at 100%. Still though, 9 points, 7 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks per game is way better than anyone could have anticipated. Missi will also be receiving an A. Way down to the second round at 39th overall, the Memphis Grizzlies flexed their scouting IQ by selecting Jaylen Wells. Nobody was talking about Jaylen going in the first round. Nobody was even talking about him at all going into the year. But he has earned his way on the court through his aggressive and effective play with an ultra-competitive Grizzly team. Quickly being moved into the starting lineup, Jaylen is averaging 12 a night with a 38% long ball on 5 tries a game. People have rightfully so been hyping up Jared McCain for his shooting, but Jaylen has been a better shooter. He still has to improve his decision making as he is kind of one-dimensional on offense, and defensively he's not really anything special yet, but the foundation for a long, good NBA career is there. I'm going to give him an A. And for the final pick I'm talking about, at 55th overall, the LA Lakers selected Bronny James, which has been a blemish to their franchise. Bronny is not an NBA caliber player. He barely was good enough to get court time at an unremarkable D1 school. After watching his dad play for a few weeks where Bronny put up 0.7 points per game while shooting 16% from the field, he was sent to the G League to essentially learn how to play the pro game. Here, things have gone terribly. In 2 games where he got big-time minutes averaging 28 a night, Bronny only produced 5 points per game while shooting 21% on his shots. At least he was not a lottery pick like Cody Williams, but Bronny is not a professional caliber basketball player. His father essentially plucking him out of college to be his tag-along has destroyed any shot he was going to have at having his own self-earned basketball career. I almost feel bad for the guy, but then I remember He is making millions of dollars to play basketball, which is the ultimate goal, so I think he's going to be fine. But in this grading system here, I'm going to give Bronny an F. And one more pick just for fun to talk about, we have the undrafted rookie Yuki Kawamura. He hasn't done Bo Diddley squat in the NBA, but he has been in the G League putting up numbers. In 5 G League games with the Memphis Hustle, he is averaging 10 points, 11 assists, 3 rebounds, and 1.4 steals per game. Now he's shooting the ball terribly. 27% from deep is terrible, and his 2-point shooting is not much better. But I think he's been fun to watch. I'm not going to give him an F, I'm going to give him a D. He's probably not really destined to be a very good NBA player, but I'm happy that he's getting the chance. Thank you guys for watching the video all the way to the end. I really appreciate your support. Please let me know your thoughts on my grades and who you think is destined to be the Rookie of the Year. I will see you all next time.